Good day everyone, and to my co-host, Miss Jamaica May Derecho.
What a wonderful to start my day with you, Miss Jamaica Peñano, and to our audience, and of course to our guests.
You know what, partner? I am so excited to witness how our guest will explain the three notable scientists that we will feature for today's discussion.
Well, Miss Peñano, I am more than flattered that I'm here and have a time to learn our knowledge for today's discussion.
Thank you, Miss Derecho. It was nice to hear that. And I know our audience are also excited to learn and discover what we're gonna tackling about later. So without further ado, let's welcome Miss Alamil, Miss Villarreal, and Miss Mirasol.
A pleasant day to our host and our audience. My name is Jessica Alamil.
So good day everyone. I am Alina Jane D. Villarreal.
I am Jonna Merck Mirasol.
It was a pleasure to finally meet you all.
So, Miss Villarreal, Miss Alamil, and Miss Mirasol, what are the things that we should expect, especially our audience, from the topic that you're about to discuss later?
You all expect that there will be knowledge all about the characteristic of these scientists that help them to understand what they are one of the three notable scientists.
Our audience should expect that they'll learn about the significant contributions of our three notable scientists.
Expect that you will learn a lot and prepare yourself for answering the questions that will be given to you. I swear you're gonna be enjoy listening and learning of different topics that we will discuss today. So have fun guys, happy learnings!
Thank you all for those few informations and ideas.
I know that you are already aware that Miss Derecho, that we're not just a host here, but also we have some part to discuss.
Definitely. So, what we are going to talk about now is about the intellectual contributions that define society. So now, let's start to discuss the scientific revolution. So now, scientific revolution is a series of the event that mark is emergence of modern science during the early period or the early modern period. When developments in science, rather the mathematics, physics, the astronomy, sociology, and chemistry transformed the views of the society about nature. It was a golden age of people wherein they are committed to scholarly life in science, but it was also a deeply trying moment to some scientific individuals that lead them to their painful death, which is ended from their religious institutions who are trying to preserve their faith, their religion, and theological views. So scientific revolutions are also significant in the development of human beings. So how they conduct, how they preserve, how they experiment, and also the observations that lead their creations for a new research fields, and also to establish a strong foundations that create our modern science. And in many ways, scientific revolutions is transform the natural world and the world ideas. And also scientific revolutions was the period that was a period of enlightenment when the development in the fields of mathematics and physics, astronomy, biology, from disciplines mentioned, the ideas generated during that periods as enable to the people to reflect or to rethink and also to re-examine their beliefs in the way of their lives. And there is no doubt that is lightly ignite their human interest to rethink their knowledge about that kind of things. So, further understanding about the scientific revolutions, please may I call Miss Jamaica Piñano to take the lead?
Thank you, Ms. Derecho. Proceeding to our next discussion, which is some intellectuals and their revolutionary ideas. But before I start, I have a question. What first comes to your mind when you heard scientist? Comment down below your answer. Anyways, for us to deeply understand what happened during the scientific revolution, it is important to examine the different individuals whose ideas have been shaken and contested the dominant theories and ideas during this period. Those we are called scientists, not just because of their intelligence, why they are in this position. Rather, in all period of time, they are driven by their curiosity, critical thinking, and creativity to explore physical and natural world. Their love for science is driven by their deep passion to know and to discover. They are not also driven by clamor for honor and publicity. Scientists are just ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Some scientists during their times were never appreciated. Some of them were sentenced to death, while others are condemned by the church during their time. However, in spite all the predicaments and challenges they experienced, they never stopped experimenting, theorizing, and discovering new knowledge and ideas. Many scientists that were known by their works and ideas. However, in this part of the lesson, 3 notable scientists will be featured and discussed that had been shaking the world by their ideas. So are you curious who are they? If yes, then let me start with this first question. Who are the scientists who proposed the Copernican revolution? Timer start. Are you having a hard time to answer the question? Then let me give you a clue. He is the father of astronomy. Time is up. The answer is Nicholas Copernicus. To further introduce and tackle what Nicholas Copernicus' significant contribution to scientific revolution for modern science, please Ms. Villarreal take the lead.
This topic, I will be focusing on the intellectual revolution, specifically in Copernican revolutionary ideas. Nicholas Copernicus was a Polish astronomer known as the father of modern astronomy. He was the European scientist to propose that the Earth and the other planet revolves around the Sun, or the heliocentric theory of the universe. To know more about this topic, let's dig more information that will help us understand it better. There are some intellectual and revolutionary ideas of Nicholas Copernicus. Nicholas Copernicus fulfilled their idea. He became a mathematician, an astronomer, a church jurist with doctorate in law, a physician, a translator, an artist, a Catholic cleric, a governor, a diplomat, and economist. He also spoke German, Polish, and Latin, and also he understood Greek and Italian. Copernican revolution, it is about the shift or the intellectual understanding about the center of the universe. So before I continue the discussion, Ms. Piñano, can you please give the question to the audience?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Villarreal. So the question is, what are the 2 competing models in the solar system? I know it's not that easy, so I'm gonna give you a clue. Ptolemy says that the Earth is the center of the universe, while Copernicus says that the Sun is the center of the solar system. Time is up. The answer is geocentric and heliocentric. If you got it right, be proud. And if not, be proud that you did try it. So now, go back to Ms. Villarreal. Please continue.
So before, there were 2 competing models in the solar system, the geocentric model and the heliocentric model. The geocentric model, geo means Earth, and the centric or centrism is the center, shows that the Earth is the center of the universe. This theory was supported by Aristotle and Claudius Ptolemy. People believe this theory is the fact. The geocentric was a challenge until Nicholas Copernicus entered the scene. He made a manuscript called On the Revolution of Heavenly Sphere. when he represented about the discussion about heliocentric model. Helio means sun and the centrism or centric is center. He explained that the center of the universe is not the earth but the sun. The manuscript he made is not published immediately. It published after his death in 1543. The publication of his book started off Copernican revolution. There are people who supported heliocentric theory. These are Galileo Galilei, Tycho Brahe, and Johannes Kepler. Galileo Galilei and his telescope provided facts and evidences that support heliocentric model. Tycho Brahe is used a measurement to give another interpretation of the solar system. The Johannes Kepler is used calculus to form law and formulas that also made a heliocentric theory. This idea of Copernicus was rejected at first by the public. Moving the heliocentric theory is not easy because the church was against in this concept. Religious belief taught them that the earth was created first before all other things. Copernicus was even persecuted as a heretic, but eventually this concept was accepted by the people in the period, which is called the birth of modern astronomy. They rather believed geocentric theory, but the evidences were provided with the use of mathematics and technology that heliocentric model was proven real model of the solar system. And also, Copernicus was strongly influenced by a book entitled Optimi, published in 1496 by a German author, Johannes Kepler. This book contains Muller's observation of the heavens and some commentary of early works, especially by Ptolemy. Copernicus' idea and model of the universe was essential, complete in 1510. Not long after that, he circulated a summary of his idea, this few close friend, in a manuscript called Commentarius, detailed commentary. There was no proof that Copernicus was concerned about the risk of persecution by the church if he published his ideas formally. In additional trivia and facts about Nicholas Copernicus, did you know that there's a chemical elements named after him? Take a look at the periodic table of elements, and you might notice one with symbol Cn called Copernicium. This element number 112 was named honor the astronomer in 2010. Number 2 trivia, he never earned a bachelor's degree. He went to a lot of colleges. He attended the University of Bologna, the University of Krakow, the University of Padua. At that time, men didn't need to get a bachelor for a church carry to study for a higher degree, so Copernicus' carry path wasn't unusual. Number 3 trivia, he practiced medicine without a medicine degree. When the uncle became elderly and ill, Copernicus acted as his physician. Copernicus was also a physician for the bishop who succeeded his uncle and for member of his church chapter. He never received a medical degree. So that's all. I hope you learned something about Nicholas Copernicus. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Villarreal, to that informative discussion.
We're really hooked by the ideas of Copernicus.
What about you guys? Did the scientist meet your expectation about him? Or you're in a process of thinking, how did he come up with this idea that's shaking the world, especially now in our present time? Please comment down below your thoughts.
So, may I call on Miss Alamil to continue our discussion?
But before that, please, Ms. Derecho, can you give the question to the audience?
The next notable persons that gave significant contributions in scientific community was born in 1856 in Czechoslovakia of Jewish parents. Who is he? Just comment down below your answers before the end given time. Still don't know the answer? Clue. He was an Australian neurologist. Time is up. The answer is Sigmund Freud. Did you get the right answer? Well done! If not, then try again in our next remaining icebreaker question. To further tackle Sigmund Freud, here is Jessica Alamir.
Thank you, Ms. Jamaica Derecho. That's right. I'll be discussing about Sigmund Freud's biography, significant contribution to scientific revolution, and controversies. I'm gonna start the discussion by giving just a brief biography of Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was born in 1856 in the town of Czechoslovakia, Europe, of Jewish parents. His father was a wool merchant who married twice, and he is the oldest son of the second wife of his father. Sigmund Freud studied in University of Vienna, and he was an assistant of physiologist Ernst Bruck while studying medicine, and graduated in 1883. In 1885, he got a postgraduate traveling stipend to work with French neurologist Jean Charcot in Paris. He married Martha Bernays in 1886. In 1902, he founded the Vienna Psychoanalytical Society, and in 1930s, Freud's published books were burned in Berlin. He suffered from cancer of jaw and mouth and died in September 23, 1939. Despite 30 operations, he worked until the end. I believe that our host Jamaica Peñano reserved another icebreaker question. Miss Peñano?
Yes, thank you, Miss Alamir. I know the audience have ideas to answer another question, so here it goes. What are the most significant contribution of Sigmund Freud in scientific community? If you haven't answered yet, here's the clue. His first contribution is the observational method and the other one is theory. Time is up. The answer is psychoanalysis and the theory of psychosexual development. Go back to the discussion. Miss Alamil, please continue.
Thank you, Miss Jamaica Peñano. That's right. The two most significant contributions of Sigmund Freud are the method of psychoanalysis or psychoanalysis and the theory of psychosexual development. Method of psychoanalysis or psychoanalysis is a therapy. It is an observational method to study and gather data of human behaviors and to treat various illnesses like depression and anxiety. Freud believed that all people have unconscious thoughts, desires, feelings, and memories, and the main goal of psychoanalysis is to release blocked emotions and experiences to heal and be cured. In psychoanalysis, Freud would let his patient lie on a couch to relax. He would sit behind them taking notes while they told him about their dreams and their childhood memories. It is a long process, mostly involving 2 to 5 sessions per week for several years. Sigmund Freud's method of psychoanalysis was proven effective to understand some neurological conditions that were not understood by medical community in his time. It surely impacted the scientific community and contributed to scientific revolution. Next is the theory of psychosexual development. Sigmund Freud proposed that personality development started during childhood in 5 psychosexual stages, which are oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital stages. Freud believed that the first 5 years of life is crucial to the formation of the personality of adult. Sigmund Freud's controversies. Some members of Vienna Psychoanalytical Society resigned in their position. Members like Alfred Adler and Carl Jung de-emphasized sexuality in favor of other unconscious forces. In addition to that, Adler believed that conflict in aggression, submission, and dominance were at the center of all mental illness. Opposing the theory of the founder of the society himself, Sigmund Freud, believed that sex was the middle of all mental illness. Oedipal complex and other related theories like catastrophic anxiety and theory of penis envy were most criticized. One of Sigmund Freud's critics was psychoanalysis Karen Horney. She criticized Sigmund Freud's theory of penis envy that led to forming of feminist psychology. She proposed the idea that men were affected by their inability to bear children. She reasoned that Sigmund Freud's ideas were okay if it were a metaphor of women longing for social prestige and position that men have. Hence, women felt inferior because of their lack of social position and freedom because of their gender, not because of literally not having male reproductive system. In conclusion, we cannot deny that Sigmund Freud contributed to scientific revolution with his theories and ideas that until now are used for curing mental illness and understanding human behaviors.
Thank you, Ms. Elamil, to that entertaining and illuminating discussion. I didn't expect that coming from Freud. So for the last scientist that will be featured in for the remaining question, who is the scientist that is an English naturalist, geologist, and a biologist, and best known for his contribution to evolutionary biology? Still don't know the answer? Here's the clue. In 1831, he embarked on a 5-year voyage around the world on the HMS Beagle, during which time his studies of various plants and lead him to formulate the theories. Time's up! The correct answer is Charles Robert Darwin. Did you get the correct answer? If yes, well, that's good. We will not prolong this, Ms. Mirasol. Can you please reveal to us how Charles Darwin ideas is significant in contributing to the science revolution?
Thank you, Ms. Piñano. Have everyone got the correct answer? If yes, well, that's good to hear that. Everyone who answered Charles Robert Darwin, you are correct. He is an English naturalist, geologist, and biologist, best known for his contributions to evolutionary biology. Johnson described Darwin as a genius who came from a line of intellectually gifted and wealthy family. He developed his interest in natural history during his time as a student at Shrewsbury School. He would also spend the time taking long walks to observe his surroundings while collecting specimens, and Hippocrates' bath was observed to be a medicine student. He struggled in his studies in medicine and ministry, which his father was imposed on him. Darwin's life soon changed when one of his professors recommended him to join a 5-year voyage around the world in the 19th century through HMS Beagle on the islands of Galapagos. Darwinian revolution was considered as the most controversial intellectual revolution of its time. His theory of evolution challenged the idea that God made the animals and plants that live on earth, which contradicted the commonly held Christians' views in that era. He did not publish his scientific works and ideas until 28 years after his voyage. Finally, as a result of Darwin's world expedition and observations, which were enhanced by many years of experimentation, he proposed the theory of evolution. By natural selection, Darwin proposed that individual organisms within the particular species show a wide range of variation for a characteristic. Individuals with characteristics most suited to the environment are more likely to survive, to breed successfully. And last, the characteristics that have enabled these individuals to survive are then passed on the next generations. So here we go again. This is the last questions that will be given to you. So take this chance to get the correct answer. So Miss Derecho, can you please tell us the question?
Yes, thank you, Miss Mirasol. I know our audience are enjoying answering our questions. To our viewers, are you guys ready? If yes, here is the questions. In 1589, Charles Darwin published his book. What is the title of the book that Charles Darwin published? You must start answering right now. If you have a hard time to answer the questions, here is the clue. This book is considered to be one of the most important works in science literature. Time is up. Okay, I hope that you got the correct answer. The answer is The Origin of Species. Okay, Miss Marisol, can you please continue the discussions?
Thank you, Miss Derecho. Everyone who answered The Origin of Species is correct. Charles Darwin published his book, The Origin of Species, in 1589. This book is considered to be one of the most important works in scientific literature. Darwin collected many significant materials in order to present his theory with overwhelming evidence. His book presented traits and adaptation that differentiate societies. Like many other scholars, Darwin accumulated many pertinent materials and data that he could ever possibly need to substantiate his theory. Darwin's observational skills as a scientific were extraordinary, that moved beyond the realms of plants and animals into the realms of humans. He introduced the idea of all organic life, including human beings, under the realm of evolutionary thinking. This replaced the dominant views of a religious or biblical design that places human beings in a privileged position of having been created by God. I hope that you enjoy this topic.
Thank you, Ms. Mirasol, to that another informative discussion. The conclusion all throughout of the discussion was to understand why these three scientists are notable in their intellectual contribution that had been widely embraced and accepted by the people or to our society. It was like it's an honor that we had these people who had a big contribution or an impact to the world. Why in our present time, at some point, we are knowledgeable enough, particularly in understanding our solar system, and especially the psychoanalysis or psychoanalytic of Sigmund Freud, wherein one of the important things that we need in our life for us to have that consciousness that we need when it comes to our mentality. Like what Miss Alamel told us in her discussion, that psychoanalysis is a form of method, a treatment for mental disorder, and we can't forget the most important work of the scientific study, which is The Origin Species of Charles Darwin.
It's a pleasure from JKT VODCAST to know that you've reached the end of another episode of discussion. Have a blessed day ahead!